Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jay Ellyiot. First off, Happy New Year. Hope you guys enjoy the holidays. I told myself this year in 2019 that I wanted to be more consistent with the content that I want to put out, whether it be music, videos, or whatever creative work that I'm working on. I put out a few videos last year, but I wasn't really consistent with it. So I definitely want to be more consistent with the stuff that I put out this year for sure. So back in 2017, almost 2 years ago, maybe about like a year and a half ago, I put out a video of how I chop my samples in Beatmaker 3. So I wanted to do an update to that and show you how I currently chop my samples in Beatmaker 3. So this is just an alternative way of chopping your samples in Beatmaker 3, which you might find easier compared to the other way that I showed you in one of my first videos. So if you haven't checked out that video, I will leave a link in the description box and you can check that out. And I'll also leave a link up top to one of those little swipe cards. So enough talking, let's just get right into it. As you can see here, I already have my sample loaded up. Now when I tap on slice mode, I can begin to make my slices from here, or I can go into the slice edit window. Since I'm already in here, I'll begin to create my slices. And if I want to preview my slices, I'll press the keys at the bottom starting at C3. Once everything is okay, I'll hit save, then slice the single layer. You can have your start key set to whatever you want, but I usually leave it at C3. Now I can go ahead and hit apply. I'll go back to the pad screen, hit keys, and now I can play around with all the slices I made. And that's pretty much it. The benefit of creating your slices to a single layer instead of slicing to multiple pads is now when I make any adjustments like tune or reverse, it gets applied to all my slices. This is because all of my slices are being contained into one pad, but spread out across the keyboard spectrum, starting at C3. Let's go back to the edit screen and go to mapping. Here you can see all the slices that were made, and also what keys they are assigned to. So even if you made 20 slices, it would just continue to go up the keyboard spectrum. If you go to the Samples tab, you can see all the actual slices you made, and are still able to make adjustments to your start and end parameters if needed. Slice to pad still has some benefits though. Here I have the same sample, but sliced to multiple pads. I'll go to the mix window and double tap my slice to pads bank. As you can see here, I have the ability to make adjustments or add effects to each individual pad. When creating slices to a single layer, you don't have the ability to do that. Each method has its pros and cons, so it just all depends on what you prefer or what you're trying to accomplish. Here's a quick tip and something I like to do when I create my slices to a single layer. Let's go back to the edit screen, double tap on tune, select macro controls, and set it to macro 1. I'll also do the same thing with gain, but set it to macro 2. Now let's go back to the pad screen and into the macros tab. We can now see the macros that we just set. For my tune macro, I like to make some adjustments and set the minimum value to -10 and the maximum value to +10. I do this because I don't want to make my tune adjustments so extreme when playing around with it. I set these two macros up because it's easy to make adjustments on the fly while you're playing around with the slices on the pads at the same time. I don't like to have to keep jumping back and forth between the edit and pad window to make some minor tweaks. Setting up your macros is also cool if you want to do live performance stuff or even do some automation. Playing around with the tune macro is especially dope because it almost gives it that slowing down and winding up tape effect. Alright, let's wrap this up by playing around with that. Alright, so I hope you guys found that tutorial helpful. Now obviously some of you probably already know how to do this method, but if you don't, hopefully you can apply it to your workflow and it'll make your chopping a lot easier within Beatmaker 3. Alright y'all, thanks for watching. Until the next one. Peace.